because one of the thoughts was, I mean, the concern about speed on the road and people walking back and forth here all the time between that side and this side is where do you walk and not get run over? And, you know, so there's some thought, and Tim, you could represent this.
Well, what we wanted to do down in here is conservancy property, as you can see, starts with that stake and it goes on an angle on the other side of those trees. Basically, cut a walking path similar to what has been done over in Shaw Wetlands. That would go back and make a big loop and then maybe come back out. Just pick a spot that's easy access. And you look down in here, this is about the easiest access. And just cut a 4 or 5 foot grass mowing. Nothing, no disruption of the earth, just cut the grass like they did in the meadows over there and make a loop that meanders around and comes back out the same spot.
Yeah. Now, I know this is a dry year and we've had several, but how often is there pooled water on this side of the road? Have you seen it?
I've been here 40 years and I don't remember pooled water in 40 years. The ground gets soft, but I don't remember any pooled water in the 40 years we've been here.
Well, when I was working with Walter Davis years ago,
Sure.
several years ago, obviously, there was one winter when that piece of his that's out in that old dairy meadow filled with water, and he said that's the first time he'd seen water in there. So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, that's over below Just Farm, Pearson Meadow.
Yeah.
He's referring to.
Because when we built a road, DNR brought their engineer in and had approved. Because this doesn't have forest here, that doesn't mean that ecology might call them up or somebody and say, hey, DNR, can you send your engineer out to approve what you just were talking about?
Yeah.
Because you're not hurting anything, but it may require some cross drains, you know, small culverts or something, so the water just doesn't pile up on one side of the trail or the other.
Right.
We don't want to turn the trail into a stream, then you're saying.
Yeah.
So that comes to mind. The other thing is I still would say you may want to have something with either ditch or pull some dirt up. The grass will come right back in, but you might want it raised up just enough. Maybe not quite to road level, but at least to the level where the sign is, because it's still going to get muddy in and on my list there, I'm going, one of the things that Jerry and I talked about briefly was how do you, a bicycle, probably not as much of a problem, but ATVs and motorcycles are,
we don't.
well, look what you got going there at Morgan Woods.
On our side,
Yeah, we
even though
pretty much have.
nobody uses it, we already.
But that's a little harder, this is a little harder to monitor than.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So-
and the thing is, though, is there's a lot of people that walk along here, and if that's...
Well, there's an example right
Yeah.
there. He
Yeah.
might like walking out through
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
if they see a motorized vehicle, I'm hoping that somebody walking along here would call them out. And
We certainly have reduced that in Morgan Wood. It's pretty much non-existent now with a lot of people using it, but now we have the advent of electric bikes basically, which are heavier. And
they also,
yeah. So, you know, they can churn some soil if they need to. So that would be a little heavier,
Yeah.
you know, cycle as
yeah,
opposed
So-
to a bicycle.
we also had people saying, well, can we bring our electric wheelchairs through there? So
Yep.
it's like,
You get
you
to
know,
the ADA issues.
how do you balance that? So the woman that asked, she parks her wheelchair and bicycle outside, and then her husband walks with her into the woods. So.
well, the other thing is you don't necessarily even have to disturb the existing. If you had a bunch of strong backs in a dump truck, you could make it fill with some gravel or something across for a walking path. You don't necessarily have to dig it out of the muck, that's exactly on one of those soils maps. This is muck.
Right. Yeah, if you look at what Eric sent out to some of us at least, and I have a copy of it here you can look at as well. And he was looking at the different parcels that we have plus the McClellan one, which is adjacent to us. and also the soils map, which is similar to this one you have here. Basically shows kind of the orange and pink areas are what we're looking at right here, and they have a pretty high hydric soil rating, and anything.
If it's cut, well, that's why I brought some clear ones.
Right.
Yeah,
But if it's over 90, it's like Colville silt loam and some other things, Saltese muck, they call it. Gee, that kind of tells you right there. Those are all over 90. So those areas are more difficult to do this stuff in because they're really wetland underneath. If we go down a little bit, we'll
And